So in this video we will learn how to use TypeScript with React from basics. So to get started you first need to install TypeScript on your machine, which you can do using npm install -g TypeScript, and you need to mention the version that you want to install. So the current latest version is 5.2.2. You can also mention latest if you want to install the latest version, but I will go with 5.2.2, which is the latest one. So once you execute this command, it will install TypeScript globally. So not on a specific project, but for their entire application, all the application. So once it's installed, now we can create a project using TypeScript. So we can use Vite.js to create a TypeScript project. So we can say npm create Vite. So it will ask you the project name. I can say React TypeScript demo. Now I select React, and for the variant I will select TypeScript. Now this folder is created. We can cd into that. I will open this in the current VS Code. Now after opening, we can open the terminal. Let me make this smaller. So you will see all the files. You can see the tsconfig.json. This is all the configuration files. So by default I don't want app.css. Now this all the boilerplate code I don't want. I can remove and I will create new app component. Now as you can see, there is a red line because we don't have node modules folder. So once you create Vite.js, you need to install the packages. So just execute npm install and it will install all the packages from package.json. So React DOM and all the dev dependencies, it will install those packages. Now once the packages are installed, you will see that there is still a red underline coming here. So it's saying does not exist some errors. So what you need to do is you need to press Command Shift P or Control Shift P, and you need to select TypeScript version. So type here TypeScript, select this option, select TypeScript version, and you need to select the workspace version. So you need to select that option, use workspace version 5.2.2. So once you select that, now you can see there is no red underline, and you will be able to successfully able to write TypeScript code. So that was with VS Code. VS Code version, TypeScript version is different from what we installed. Once that is done, now you have this. Now this index.js, I will remove all this code and I will remove everything else. Now in main, this is fine. App, this is fine. So now we can start the application by running npm run dev, or you can use yarn dev. So Vite.js requires has a dev script. So you can open this. You can see app is getting displayed. So this application is working. Now let's see how to use TypeScript. So this is a normal component. To make it TypeScript, you can add colon fc. Fc starts for functional component. You need to import from React. So you add colon and then add this fc. So one thing you notice that the file name is .tsx, not .jsx. So every TypeScript code you write has to be in the .tsx extension if you are using React. If that is not a React code, .ts is required because that is a TypeScript. All JSX related code you write in TSX, and without JSX you write in .ts. So now this is a TypeScript version and I can display anything. So let's say for this app component, I am passing some prop. Let's say from app, I am passing title. Let's say title equal to TypeScript demo. Now, as soon as I add this prop, you can see there is an error. type title string is not assignable to type intrinsic attribute. So what this means? This means that app component requires a title prop, but you have not mentioned that. So what you can do, you can go to app component, and here you need to define that types which you are passing. So all the props that you are passing to any component, you need to mention that. So you can create an interface here, props, and here whatever props you are passing, so I am calling it title prop. So you can mention title and what the data type of that prop that you are passing. So this is a string, so I will mention it as a string. Now this app props, you need to mention it in angle brackets. Now what it means is app is a component which accepts these props, and now you can see there is no red underline and there is no error. So now to access that, you can use destructuring. So I can access this title prop and I can use this title prop. So you can see TypeScript demo is getting displayed. So we are correctly able to display. So let me make it h1. So this is, and we can CSS also, index.css for the h1 text align center. Now it's in the center. So now let's say let's say in this app component I want to get list of users and display. We will create an application using which you can understand how to use TypeScript with React. So let's say there is a random users API. So random user.me, if you go to this website, here you can get a random user, their name and location, birthday, all the information. So you can go to documentation and you can read about with different APIs. So it accepts results, query parameter, gender, male, and password, etc. So I will use this random users results equal to 10. So this API will give me results of 10 different random users. So let's first use Axios. We'll install Axios. So we can make API call. So now we can start the application again. Let me zoom out. And here I will use effect hook. So I will add empty dependency. So this use effect hook will execute only once the component is loaded. Now I will create get users function, and here I will use async await. Const data equal to await axios dot get and that API URL. Now we are using await, so I will declare this function as async. And as we are using await, we need to wrap that in a try catch. So if anything goes wrong, your application will not stop. I will print this error and we can just log the data to the console. Now this get user function, I will call it here. You can see we get the results, which is the, so here you can see it, the data is contains in the results property. So we correctly get the results and we have list of 10 random users. So now we can use these users to display on the screen. So let's say to store that data, we need to declare a state. I will initialize that as empty array, because this data is an array inside results property. So I will log results. So you can see you get this array directly. Now I will declare users, set users equal to use state. Here I will call set users data dot results. Now let's use these users and display them on the screen. So what we will do is, let me write this in a div. H1 users dot map. I will display this individual user. For individual user, I will return, let's make this an order list. Inside it, I will return li. For each individual li, let's say I want to display each user's name. So name dot first. So I will get this user. I will add name user dot name dot first and user dot name dot last. User dot name dot last. So if you see, we are correctly printing, but here you are getting error. Property name does not exist. This is, you can see on type neighbor. So this is TypeScript specifics. You need to mention what is the type of user, what property it contains. So that specifically you need to mention. So to remove this error and to fix this error, you need to specify. You can see if I mouse over users, you see it, its type is never array. So it's not on a specific type. So you need to mention that it's an array of objects. So to specify that, here you can add angle bracket, and here you need to specify what type of this array. So you can create another interface here. Let's say users, and you need to specify whatever property you are accessing, you need to specify that. So let's say user dot name. So each, I need to specify name dot first. So name is an object. So here I can say name is an object, and each object has a property. So it has first and last. What is first? First is also type of string, and last is also type of string. Now which are the different properties? So now these users, we can use it here. So this is not just users, this is an array of users. So array of objects with this name property. So now you can see there is no error. If I refresh this, we are getting this key because we have not added key. So let's add key. So each individual user property has a unique ID. So if you see login.uuid, so we can use that as a key, user.login.uuid. Here you are again, now we need to specify that each user has a login property. So here you can say login, it's also object, and uuid, which is of type string. Now you can see there is no error, and if I refresh this, you will not see any warning now. So you can see we are correctly able to display 10 usernames. Now let's display another name. So let's say email. So where is email? Emails comes from direct email property. So I can say user dot email. Again, you need to specify that each individual user has an email property and which is of type string. We can see there is no error now. So every time whenever you are accessing any property, you need to specify that what is the type of that property. Now if you mouse over this users, you can see you correctly get array of users. Previously it was array of neighbor, and if you mouse over this, you can see it's users. So its type is user. So this is an array of users, and this is individual users property, users object. So now we are able to correctly display this. Let me make this horizontal line so we'll see it better. So now, so you can see we have lot of properties for each individual user, but for declaring interface you don't need to specify all the property. So only those property which you are using you need to specify. So only the properties which you need to specify in the interface. You don't need to specify everything. So now you can see we are declaring object here, but instead of like this you will mostly see it having declared separate interface. So this you can declare name. So we start every interface with the capital letter. That's a common convention. Now I will declare this. Let me remove this. So now name is an, here I can use name. You don't need to directly specify here. So the advantage is that if I want to use this name somewhere else, you can easily use that. So you don't have to repeat that things again and again. So again, now I can create interface. Let's say login, and I will add this UUID property. Now here I will use login. This looks much better than the previous version. So you have separate interfaces. You can, instead of interface, you can also use type. If you are familiar with TypeScript, you can also use type. So like this type login equal to UUID string. So this is also valid. It depends on your preference which one you use. So mostly you will see interfaces used, but you can use type also, that does not matter. So you need to remember, whenever you are declaring an array in TypeScript, you need to specify what type of data you are storing. So each individual property you need to specify. Now instead of always referring this user, you can destructure also. So here I will destructure login property, I will destructure name property and email property. Now you don't need to always use user dot. You can directly use it. This is much better than direct always referring to. So this is object destructuring we are using. Now we will create a separate component. So inside src, I will create components folder. Here I will create user.tsx. You need to make sure it's tsx extension, not jsx. I'll create a component. Now whatever we are displaying here will display in that particular user component. So I will move this inside user component. Now here what you need login, name and email. So I will pass this as a prop. Login, name and email. So you can see you are getting an error, because whenever you pass prop, you need to specify those types of props when using TypeScript. So what you can do is you can again create interface, user props, and here I will specify what is the type of login. Login has a UUID property. So what you can do is, here we have already defined all these props. So what you can do is you can just export these interfaces. So this we don't need, this is specific to app. We can export this also and export this also. Now we can directly use this here. So instead of defining this login again, I can say login. User props. Now name is of type name. This name is this particular interface that we have created. Email, which is of type string. And now we can declare this as a functional component. Import React, and we'll specify the user props here. Now you can see there is no error. Now inside this, we need to call this user component and pass all of the values. So I can pass login equal to login, name equal to name, email equal to email. All these props we are passing, and if I refresh, you can see it still works, but now we are getting that again error of missing key. Why? Because we have removed key. So previously key was for individual li, but now we don't need that key here. So we can actually remove this login and we don't need it here, and here we'll add that key, login dot uuid. So now this login we don't need. So if you refresh, you can see it still works. So if you want, you can also display any other properties like gender or phone number. You can display that information on the screen. So if you see, the file is becoming quite larger, so because we have multiple interfaces. So what you can do is, it's a common convention you can use to separate out these interface in a separate file. So this is app.tsx, so you can create new app.types.ts, not tsx, and we can move these interfaces inside this types file. Now we also need to export this because we'll be using it in another file, and we can import app props from .app/types. Import this users also. That's it. Now in user, remove this. We need to import this name from here. So you can see now it's much better. So you have saved some. The file is not larger now. It's quite smaller. And if you refresh, you can see it still works. The users are initially different, and then after some time they are changing. Why that is happening? Because we have use effect hook, and in React 18, so if you see package.json, we are using React version 18, and in main.jsx we are using React strict mode. So whenever you are using strict mode with React 18, use effect execute twice. So if I add console.log here inside, or we can say calling, I'll add it here. So if you refresh this page, you can see calling is displayed twice. So use effect is executed twice. So what you can do is, if you don't want to, this is only during development. On production it will execute only once, but on development it executes twice. So if you don't want, you can comment out this strict mode. After commenting out, if I refresh, you can see it's executed only once. And now if I add this console.log calling, if I refresh, you can see it is displayed only once, and now you will not see this data changing. So once it's loaded, it remains same, it will not change again, because that random user API always returns different users on every time. So every time we call this API, we get different random users. So while it was calling this use effect hook twice, so we are having different results always. Now I will add a new state, is loading, state is loading is equal to use state, it will have initial value of false. While the data, before making the API call, I will set is loading to true, remove this log, and once the API is done, I will set is loading to false. Even if there is error, I will set it to false. And here, while the data is loading, I can display is loading, loading. When I refresh, you can see loading is displayed for some time, and then you get that data. So if you see here, we are repeating the same code again twice. So what you can do is, you can add a finally block. This finally block will always execute even if there is success or if there is failure. So you can add this inside directly, in only inside finally block, and you don't need to repeat it in try and catch. So if I refresh, you can see you still get that data. So loading message is displayed. And now if you see, we have not specified type of this. So this is by default. So TypeScript automatically infers depending on the data which you have provided. By the initial value, it knows that it's Boolean. But in this case, it's not knowing what is the, it knows that it's an array, but it don't know what is the data that you are storing in that array. That's why you manually need to specify here. Here also you can specify a type of Boolean, that also works and you don't get any error. So if you see here, we don't have any error and data is correctly loaded. But that is redundant code, because you are not, you don't need to specify. So that is the redundant thing, so you don't need to specify if you are specifying the initial value. So by this value itself, it's clear that it's boolean, so TypeScript automatically infers that data type, so you don't need to specify it again. Now let's say we are loading these users initially, so instead of this, let me add a button here, show users. I want to display these users only when we click on this button. So I will add on click handler, and I will add an event listener here, and I'll click, specify this here. So here I want to make that API call. So now I don't need this use effect hook. I can directly call this here, and I will declare this function as a seed. I will comment this out. Now on handle click, you are calling this. Now when I click on show users, you see that loading users. You can see every time I click, you load different set of users. So users are changing. You can see now it's different users. So that's how you can use event listener. Now let's say I have another input field here. That's the type equal to text. And on change of this, I want to, whatever I'm typing at the input field, I want to display it below. So let's create a new on change handler, handle change, and here I will call this. And that value, whatever I am storing, let me declare a new state. It will have initial value of empty, username, set username. Now I will set this username whenever I change this. And from where I will get that as an event object. So on change event I have added, so I will get that event. But you can see we are getting error. Parameter event implicitly has any type. So if I try to set event dot target dot value, we are getting this error. Whenever you are declaring any function, when you are passing anything, any parameter, you need to specify what is the type of that particular event. So how can you identify what is that type? So what you can do is you can convert this function into inline function. Now you will pass this event, and if you mouse over this, you can see you are getting that type. So you don't need to guess what is the type of event or search. You can directly use this type here. And now I will change back this here. You can see now there is no error. So whenever I using event dot, you can see you will get suggestion. That's the advantage of TypeScript. So you get auto completion whatever properties has that particular event, because I am specifying change event of input element, that is input element. So you have access to event dot target dot value. So previously, before, without adding this, you will not get those suggestions. So if I type dot, you can see there is nothing coming. So we don't get those suggestions. That's why it's important to specify type. So only those values you can use, and TypeScript will automatically give your suggestion. So now this username is set. We can display this username here. So on change of this, we are setting this username and we are displaying it below. So if I type here Mike, you can see this name is automatically displayed below. So this here you are not adding value. So value is optional prop, you don't have to provide. So if you want to provide, you can provide. So here I can say username. So if I refresh, you can see it still works. So when I say it still works, but value is optional prop, you don't have to provide. But whenever you provide that value, you have to provide the on change. So it, when you provide value and without on change, you will get an error. You can see we provided a value prop without on change handler. That is a React warning, not TypeScript specific. Value is optional prop, but if you provide value, you have to provide on change. So now if I refresh, you don't get this error. So I can type Alex, it's working fine. When I click on show users, we get this list of users. So this is all about using TypeScript with React.